Brothers, sisters, I have a proposition.
For some years now, fans have been wanting a continuation of the Tiberium series, and the remaster that released last year has only increased those calls. But it's here that the problem arises, because any potential sequel has to acknowledge what came before it. There are very few games that are as derided among their fanbase as Command & Conquer 4 Tiberian Twilight was. It's been a long-running gag among fans of the franchise that the fourth Command & Conquer game was nothing but a bad dream that we all collectively shared. If you look at any of the amazing work that fans have created for the series over the last 10 years, almost without exception, Tiberian Twilight goes completely unmentioned. On the rare occasion where someone does actually address it, it's usually pointed to as a non-canon conclusion to the story, and this has been repeated so many times over the years that at this point it's de facto truth. So given this state of affairs, any potential sequel that might come out is going to face an uphill battle right from the get-go, because it's going to force people to acknowledge a part of the franchise they'd rather ignore. There is, however, a solution to our problem.
Commander, there's something you need to know.
At the conclusion to Tiberium Wars, the third game in the Tiberium franchise, a decision is made. The player is given a choice: either continue the struggle against almost insurmountable odds against the Skrin invaders, or use stolen Nod liquid Tiberian technology and end the battle in an instant. The dangers of using such technology are evident. Earlier in the Third Tiberian War, a liquid Tiberian explosion at Sarajevo devastated Eastern Europe and rendered it an inhospitable red zone. A similar explosion in Italy could have cataclysmic environmental consequences, and so the player must choose: end it quickly or continue the struggle. There's no ambiguity in the ending as to which one is preferable, but both are presented as viable outcomes. The Command & Conquer franchise is no stranger to multiple endings, but in the past the situation in the sequels has always been the determining factor as to which of the multiple endings was considered canon. Over time though, a precedent was set, perhaps inadvertently, that the best ending would be considered by default as the canon one. The question I'm posing in this video is this: what if Command & Conquer 4 was the sequel to Tiberium Wars' bad ending? If we could split the timeline at that crucial moment at the end of Tiberium Wars, it opens up a whole new set of options for any potential sequels. No longer do we have to deal with the problems that would arise if we continued the story beyond the end of Command & Conquer 4, and on top of that we wouldn't have a situation where half the fanbase doesn't want to acknowledge the existence of the sequel in the first place. Rewriting history is a staple of the Command & Conquer franchise, and in fact the entire Red Alert series is based around that premise. But I don't just want to talk about how this could be a good fit for the franchise, but instead look at some of the actual evidence in-game that supports this theory. In Command & Conquer 3, a big deal is made of GDI's sonic technology. At various points in the game and in its supporting material, sonic technology is credited with the reversal of the spread of Tiberian. Certain blue zones have actually been reclaimed from Tiberian wastelands using this sonic technology. As this new tech continues to proliferate throughout GDI, it's likely that new blue zones would have been established using a similar method, and the spread of Tiberian across the planet would have been temporarily halted. So the question is, how did the situation change from one where GDI was starting to reclaim territory from Tiberian to one where they are completely overrun? How did this turn to this? The answer is the liquid Tiberian explosion at the end of Tiberian Wars. Redmond Boyle gets his way, the missile is launched, and the planet suffers.
Proceed direct.
But it doesn't have to be that way, and I hope one day we'll get to see how things could have been. The Command & Conquer franchise and its fans need a true conclusion to the story. I'm hopeful that by creating a branch in the narrative, they finally take the opportunity to deliver on what could have been, and give this iconic gaming franchise a satisfying ending.